Hello, hello, hello. It reminds me of adieu, adieu, adieu in The Sound of Music. Opposites, but reminiscent nonetheless. You have tuned into the state of menopause in the world today. I am Menopause Taylor, and boy, do I give you every which way to manage your menopause. This podcast is a part of our unit on heart attack. If you have my book, all of chapter 28 is on heart attack. And I'm in the part of that unit where I'm addressing all the management options for lowering your risk of a heart attack. And the category for today is hormonal medication options. Now, this topic is critical, not only to your understanding of heart attacks in women, but also to set the stage for the next podcast to come, because that's how I do it. I make it so that this is like school. You have to watch each video in order, or listen to each podcast in order. You got to do everything in order for my education, because I make it so easy for you to learn if you'll just do it in order. So every woman, no matter what her age, should listen to this podcast or watch my videos, whatever. This particular podcast is the kind of information that will serve you well for the rest of your life, no matter how you choose to manage your menopause when the time comes. I am exquisitely pedantic about the order. I spend hours planning the order just right, so that you don't have to do anything but relax, listen, and learn. Everything I do is to make your life easier. So let's get started on this topic of hormonal options for preventing a heart attack. And first, I'm going to give you a bit of a review. On many occasions, I've told you that heart attacks are the biggest killers of women. Statistically, heart attacks kill 1 out of every 2 women. That means heart attacks kill more women than all the cancers combined. So all women, no matter how healthy, are at high risk for a heart attack. And the time when your risk for a heart attack becomes high is, dun 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 dun, post-menopause. By definition, post-menopause is when you lose your estrogen. So there's an obvious connection between estrogen loss and heart attacks. Or, to look at it from another perspective, there's an obvious connection between the presence of estrogen and the absence of heart attacks. So that forms the basis of hormonal medication options as a means of preventing a heart attack. On numerous occasions, I have explained hardening of the arteries. Estrogen is what keeps your arteries soft and supple. And when you lose your estrogen, your arteries begin to harden. And the longer you go without estrogen, the harder they get. And I've explained that this hardening is the result of fat and calcium building up inside the artery. So that also forms the basis of our topic today. The logic is simple. If loss of estrogen is what increases your risk for a heart attack, then continuing to take estrogen will prevent that increased risk. And notice that I'm only talking about estrogen right now. I'll get to progesterone in a bit. So regardless of how or when your postmenopause comes about, when you lose your estrogen, that's when the risk of heart attack skyrockets. I've taught you all about the fats, and they're also called lipids in your blood. And some are good, some are bad. Obviously, you want a lot of the good ones and very few of the bad ones. And before menopause, that dynamic between your good fats and bad fats is favorable. In fact, the younger you are, the better it is, generally speaking. But loss of estrogen changes all that. When you lose your estrogen, your good fats decrease and your bad fats increase. And the result is that the rate of heart attack increases exponentially at the time of postmenopause. If you experience premature menopause at, say, age 30, your risk of a heart attack starts skyrocketing at age 30. If you have your ovaries removed at age 30, your risk of a heart attack skyrockets at age 30. If you have chemotherapy that causes your ovaries to stop functioning at age 30, your risk of a heart attack skyrockets at age 30. And if you have radiation therapy that destroys your ovaries at age 30, your risk of a heart attack skyrockets at age 30. So you get the picture. While your risk for a heart attack is lower the younger you are, loss of estrogen at any age causes it to increase exponentially. So, if you replace estrogen when it's lost, you can prevent that increase in your risk for a heart attack. That makes sense, doesn't it? If you've been getting my education, you know that there are many different kinds of estrogen, right? We've got pills and shots and skin patches and skin gels, lotions, sprays, vaginal rings, vaginal tablets, vaginal creams, all kinds of stuff. I've explained them all. And I've explained the estrogen window of opportunity. I taught you that some of these estrogens travel throughout your entire body and provide estrogen to your entire body, while other estrogens confine themselves to your vagina only and treat only your vaginal symptoms. Well, we're talking about your heart here, and your vagina is a long way from your heart. So it's important to know which estrogens can prevent a heart attack and which ones can't. When it comes to using estrogen to prevent a heart attack, the only estrogens that suffice are those that travel throughout your entire body. Remember, they've got to make it up to your arteries and keep them soft. So it includes pills, shots, skin patches, skin gels, lotions, and sprays, and one of the two vaginal rings. The only vaginal ring that sends estrogen throughout your body is called the Fem ring. F as in Frank, E-M-R-I-N-G, Fem ring. What this means is that the other vaginal ring, called E-string, E-S-T-R-I-N-G, vaginal tablets and vaginal creams do not suffice for preventing a heart attack. You've also learned that in order to help reduce your risk of heart attack, the estrogen you take has to meet a certain minimal dosage requirement for that particular type of estrogen. Meaning, if you take any dosage lower than that minimal necessary dosage requirement, kiss goodbye protection of a heart of your arteries and prevention of a heart attack. You are not accomplishing that goal. Now, you can take more. You may need more, but you cannot take less than the minimal dosage requirement. Minimal means lowest possible dosage. It doesn't mean highest possible dosage. It means lowest. Woman after woman after woman goes, oh, I don't want to take more than that. I'm like, do you understand the difference between the words minimal and maximal? The dosage requirement gives you the minimal dosage. If you need more than that, take it. But don't take less than that if you care about preventing a heart attack. Okay, so even if a lower dosage suffices to alleviate all your symptoms of menopause, it will not prevent a heart attack. You cannot make up your own rules. Don't decide that because you're a small woman that it will work for you. Don't decide that because you feel so much better and it takes care of your symptoms that it's also taking care. Don't make up your own rules. That is the biggest way for women to get in trouble. They make up these rules that I think they just are rationalizing. They're just looking for some reason to feel good about whatever they're doing. But no, these minimal necessary dosages are scientifically proven. You cannot fool with them, okay? If you go to my website, menopausetailor.me, I have a chart on all these dosages that you can use. You can print it out as a cheat sheet or whatever, so that you know the minimal dosages. And the way the chart works is I go through the different kinds of estrogen ingredients, not brand names, because brand names differ from country to country. And since I serve women all over the world, by giving you brand names, it sets you up for difficulty finding what you want. What I give you is the kind of estrogen in whatever product. And by knowing that ingredient for the kind of estrogen, it helps you find that product anywhere. Okay? I just want you to understand the line of logic for using estrogen to prevent a heart attack, and understanding that it takes an estrogen that travels throughout your body and also an estrogen that meets the minimal necessary dosage requirement. Now, after I taught you that stuff, I've taught you that there is a primary reason to take estrogen and there is a secondary reason to take estrogen. And this is an ironic thing, because the primary and secondary that we use today are the exact opposite of the way that used to be before the infamous WHI study came out and scared everybody to death and turned all the data upside down. And it's a shame, because that one study was the worst study ever done, and yet that's the one study everyone has based all of their behaviors on ever since it was done. Okay, but now, today, the primary purpose is considered to be only for alleviating severe symptoms of menopause. And the secondary purpose is for preventing a heart attack. So nowadays, preventing a heart attack is considered like a perk, a secondary benefit, not even a reason for taking estrogen. But it used to be the opposite. It used to be that people took estrogen, women were given HRT as a replacement, primarily because it prevented diseases that are fatal. But when that study came out, everything got turned upside down. So estrogen does decrease your risk for a heart attack, but doctors will not give you estrogen specifically for the purpose of preventing a heart attack. This is where primary and secondary comes in. If you say, I want to take HRT, in order to prevent a heart attack, they will say, no, we won't give it to you for that. If you say, I want HRT, or I want estrogen replacement for severe symptoms of menopause, they'll go, oh yeah, fine, no worry. If you take it for your symptoms of menopause, though, the secondary perk is that you also get the benefits of lowering your risk of a heart attack. Do you see how important it is to watch this, to learn this stuff, to watch videos or listen to podcasts in order to get the details of what you have to understand? There is no way I can tell you everything you need to know in one single tutorial. There is no way you will know what you need to know if you jump around in random order. It is critical to get this in a logical, very, very, very precise way. Now, different kinds of estrogen have different degrees of benefit for your heart. And when I say that, I don't want you to exaggerate the significance of the differences. It's all just about pros and cons. This is where something will have a benefit that something else doesn't. It doesn't amount to much for the vast majority of women, but it's something I tell you because it's information, and tidbits can be important to you. But don't think it's a deal breaker, okay? When I give you little differences like that, they aren't deal breakers. When it comes to your heart, having some estrogen is always better than having no estrogen. But different types of estrogen can affect your lipids differently. For instance, oral estrogen pills increase your good HDL, and they decrease your bad